Hey, good morning, Chinook. This is Mr. Vasek coming to you live from his house. So, real quick, today our topic is volume. Also, today is Monday, May 18th, 2020, on an online schedule. So, volume. Volume isn't how loud I'm talking right now. Well, it is, and that's what you use a lot of times in science and physics and other things. But for math class, we're talking about volume of shapes. So, my coffee cup, it's a three-dimensional shape, right? It has a height, it has a length, and it has a width of some sort. Since it's kind of a cylinder, really, you're going to learn about a radius and diameter next year. But there's something inside, and guess what? Wait, you can't see that. It's coffee. So volume to tell us how much coffee could fit inside this. Now we're going to use three-dimensional shapes. So here today, we have your first homework problem, and it's a rectangular prism. Remember, rectangular prisms kind of look like boxes? And this rectangular prism, we're going to figure out how much space is actually inside of it. Surface area dealt with the outside, volume is inside. So to find it, there's actually a formula. So volume equals length times width times height. So easy way to so one way that I think about it personally. So your length times width, that'll give you the base of it. And then what you're doing is to figure out how much space is inside of it, think about cutting it into thin little layers. So there's one layer of it. There's another layer. And how many layers of it are going up? Well, that's your height. So really you're just multiplying that by your height. And here, we're multiplying that by 1.5. So to figure it out, we're going to get our formula and just plug it in. So it's length, we're going to say is 7 times 3.5 times 1.5. One way to make this problem a lot easier, convert this to decimals. What's 1/2 as a decimal? It's 0.5. So we have 7 times 3.5 times 1.5. So 3.5 times 7 is 24.5. So now we're doing 24.5 times 1.5. So our answer here is 36.75. And when we get units, our units here, they're always going to be cubed. Area was always squared. This is going to be cubed. And remember, cubed, that's to the third power. Another way to think about it is really, we're doing, if this all had yards on it, we're multiplying those numbers together, and we got 36.75. With this, we're doing yards times yards times yard. So if you want a cubic yard, here's what it would look like. I'm clearly not going to have enough space in my whiteboard, but it'd be a shape that's, let's say that's a yard. It's definitely not a yard, but let's just pretend. By another yard. Now let's say this had some sort of height to it. So I have to draw it going outwards. Kind of weird to think about. It's going this way. Here's another way I could do it with like a 3D drawing. And pretend that this is kind of like projecting outwards as its height. And then this dimension right here that's coming out towards you, that's another yard. So it's a yard by a yard, a yard. And there's, in this shape right here, there's 36.75 of them fitting inside. All right, if you have questions, feel free to email me. That is your lesson for this week.